Imagine a pristine white form, a geometric abstraction, seemingly floating against the dense green foliage of a steep dune, with the vast blue expanse of Lake Michigan stretching out behind it. This isn't a render. It's the Douglas House, one of Richard Meier's most brilliant and challenging early works. To the untrained eye, it might look like a simple white box. But for architects, it's a masterclass in solving a complex puzzle of sight, program, and pure form. How do you build a home on a near vertical cliff? And how does that extreme constraint birth a piece of architectural art? In this video, we're going to unravel the secrets of the Douglas House, exploring the radical ideas that make it a cornerstone of late modernism. To truly appreciate the house, we must first understand its context. Designed in 1971 for Jim and Jean Douglas, the site was, by conventional standards, nearly unbuildable. It wasn't a gentle slope. It was a dramatic 70-foot drop down to the lake. Most architects would see this as a problem. Meier saw it as the central concept. Instead of fighting the site, he embraced it, turning the entire design into a vertical journey. The house is entered from the top, from the street level. You don't walk into a welcoming foyer. You descend into the home's living space. This inversion of the typical domestic sequence is the house's first and most powerful move. It immediately establishes that this will be an experiential journey, not just a functional arrangement of rooms. A pro tip for architecture students: when analyzing any building, always start with the section. The section of the Douglas House tells you everything about its conceptual core. It's a series of layered platforms cascading down the hillside, each frame carefully composed to capture a specific view of the lake. Now, let's break down Meier's architectural language. The Douglas House is a textbook example of what critics have called cardboard architecture, a term describing buildings that emphasize thin, planar surfaces over solid, monolithic mass. The primary materials are white-painted steel, glass, and wood. Meier uses these white planes not as walls in the traditional sense, but as abstract elements that define space, frame views, and control light. Some planes are solid, offering privacy from the road above. Others are fully glazed, dissolving the boundary between inside and out. And others still are perforated screens, creating a delicate play of light and shadow. This isn't just an aesthetic choice. It's a philosophical one. The whiteness purifies the form, allowing you to read the architectural ideas without the distraction of material texture or color. It highlights the geometry and the ever-changing relationship between the man-made structure and the natural environment. The genius of the Douglas House lies in its spatial organization and the choreography of movement. Meier was a master of the architectural promenade, a concept pioneered by Le Corbusier, where the experience of moving through a building is a sequenced, cinematic event. Your journey begins at the top with the entry bridge, a moment of transition. You then descend the main stair, which is not hidden away, but is the central, sculptural spine of the house. As you descend, your view of the lake unfolds gradually. You pass by and through different levels. The more public sleeping areas are on the upper levels, while the living, dining, and kitchen spaces are down below, closest to the water. This vertical stacking creates a clear and intelligent separation of public and private zones, all organized around the central circulation core. The house feels much larger than its actual square footage because of this dynamic, multi-level exploration of space. You're never in a single static room. You're always aware of the levels above and below you. One of the most critical aspects of the house's design is its relationship with light and view. Meier doesn't just provide big windows. He composes framed views like a photographer. Each opening, each gap between planes, is calculated to focus your attention on a specific part of the landscape: a patch of sky, a tree branch, the horizon line. The ever-changing light of the Great Lakes region reflects off the white surfaces, filling the interior with a soft, diffuse glow. At night, the fully glazed lower level becomes a lantern, glowing against the dark landscape. This meticulous control of aperture and prospect is a key lesson for any designer. The house teaches us that a view is more powerful when it is framed and revealed strategically, rather than simply exposed all at once. It creates a dynamic dialogue between the static architecture and the living, breathing site. So, what is the legacy of the Douglas House? It cemented Richard Meier's reputation as a leading voice of the New York Five, a group of architects dedicated to the intellectual and formal pursuit of modernism. It demonstrated that the principles of early modernists like Le Corbusier could be evolved into a new, highly personal and sculptural language. The house is not without its critiques. Some question its practicality and its intense, almost demanding relationship with its inhabitants. But its cultural impact is undeniable. It stands as a powerful statement that architecture can be a work of art in its own right, a piece of inhabited sculpture that transforms a difficult site into its greatest asset. It challenges the very definition of a house, proposing it not just as shelter, but as a device for experiencing place. In conclusion, the Douglas House is far more than a white box on a cliff. It is a profound exploration of section, movement, and material purity. It shows us how extreme site constraints can fuel radical creativity, resulting in a building that is as intellectually rigorous as it is breathtakingly beautiful. It remains a pilgrimage site for architects because it encapsulates a moment in time when the ideals of modernism were being reimagined with fresh energy and sculptural power. Now I want to hear from you. What other architectural case studies would you like us to break down? Is there another iconic house that you find endlessly fascinating? Let me know in the comments below. If this journey through the Douglas House has inspired you, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the stories behind the world's most iconic building.